Friday, welcome to what should be a best show of the week. We have got Jersey Drake in the building. And of course, we're setting you up nicely with all these bets for our 5 great ACC games. Will Virginia Tech take down Notre Dame? Can Georgia Tech figure out how to bounce back and beat Duke? Man, Florida State and Carolina, all great games that we're going to cover on today's show. We look forward to you guys listening, giving us feedback. We know you love that these days. You love telling us what it is and how it ain't and, what it could be. So we look forward to all of that. And man, let's just have a good time.
You are Locked On ACC, your daily podcast on the Atlantic Coast Conference. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome to today's edition of Locked On ACC. As I mentioned, Jersey Drake in the building. I hope you're having a great Friday, Drake.
Oh, it's a great Friday. I'm stoked to be here and also just to come back on the show and finally be able to say that my team won over the weekend, even though, AJ, you put us at 14 still? Really? Come on, man. That's dirty as hell.
I mean, you did just beat Syracuse, if we're being honest.
I mean, that's some but...
Not that you have a bleeper. I love that. Okay. Where did you get that? Amazon?
Amazon. You know what it is.
Well, we are glad to have you in the building. Some great games to go over. And let's start with the team that's going to see some good action. Florida State. Can we talk about the Syracuse game, though, a little bit? Like, were you pleased? Okay, cool. Were you pleased with the outcome? I mean, obviously it was a win, but it was a gutsy win, I would say.
That game went exactly, I think, how I had Tyler on for on our Friday for our Know Your Foe segment, and literally we're like, we knew it was going to be a super ugly game that was going to come down to. I thought it was going to come down to a missed field goal by them, not by a last-second field goal by us to win the game. I mean, I kind of went to the game that this was going to be one of our guaranteed wins, like a UMass later on in the year. I was still pissed about how our defense looked, mainly because we just looked supremely lost, but a win's a win, and I can't really be mad about that. And Jordan Travis, he carried the team on his shoulders and on his legs, even though you can tell he's really banged up, whether it be his knee or his shoulder. But a win's a win.
Yeah. And it's interesting that they're going with him and the whole controversy about they're going to go with McKenzie or Jordan. I'm glad they're figuring out. Same way I was happy with Syracuse, right? Garrett Schrader definitely showed that he has some wheels. And at the end of the day, like we always say here on the show, if you have 2 quarterbacks, you have none. And figuring out, giving guys time, I mean, yeah, it's week 5. We're going into week 6. This is a problem we shouldn't have had to deal with, but at least we see some resolve, and maybe that can shift things. Do you think that's going to help Florida State moving forward? And are you glad you have a McKenzie type backup, or do you still feel like McKenzie's the guy?
As of right now, I don't think McKenzie's the guy, and I love the dude, but we don't have the wiles to create separation. And one of the big things is that McKenzie Milne is very quick to release and quick with reaction time and with his anticipation. But the problem is our wiles cannot get separation to save their lives. There's a reason why only, I want to say, 3 passes on the day were further down than 10 yards. Or I think only 6 passes were further down than 5 yards. Everything else, I think Jordan Travis had like 23 attempts, was either at the line of scrimmage or behind. I think we had like 10 screenplays. So to me, we now, I think, know what our strength is with our team. And that's a lot of, relying on Jason Corbin and Trayshawn Ward, who are probably the most underrated running backs actually in the conference. And then you supplement that with Jordan Travis's legs and his capacity to maybe sometimes hit a deep ball. I am happy with that. Even though I do really want to see, we have a third stringer named Charlotte Purdy that I really, really want to see. I think he brings the best of both worlds, whether it be his legs and his arm. But we won't see to him until probably after our bye week against UMass. But I'm excited about Jordan Travis.
For sure. Now you mentioned Deshaun Corbin. He's going to be a key star to look at in week 6 matchup with Carolina. 504 yards, 4 touchdowns on the season. They played at 3:30 on Saturday against the Heels. They're playing in Chapel Hill, playing in Kenan Stadium. And I feel like this is either going to be a Jordan Travis come out party, which he did last season, where he did just enough to make Florida State look good, or Sam Howell and Josh Downs are going to put on a show and kind of embarrass that Florida State defense. How are you feeling about Jermaine Johnson, Florida State defense, and just overall with the game?
Our defensive line is going to show up primarily because I think you guys have switched your center, I think 2 or 3 times over the course of the year. And then
we might switch our center 2 to 3 times a game, during the game.
Okay, that's cool. I mean, I saw y'all against Duke. You guys did hold Mateo Durant to, I think only 114 yards, which for his standards is kind of lower. But I'm going to be really looking forward to see how our defensive line with Jermaine Johnson, Akir Thomas, and Robert Cooper kind of like not exposed, but kind of like see how they fare up physically wise with your offensive line, because we need to make Sam Howell get out of the pocket and be uncomfortable. If you saw against Virginia Tech and Georgia Tech, if he gets out the pocket, he's not as comfortable. But if you give him time, you will have receivers like a Josh Downs or a Ty Chandler, from the backfield to be able to, I want to say, expose and take advantage of our cornerbacks, because our DBs, even though we are DBU, that's stone cold right there. But our DBs have vastly underperformed this year, and it's mainly due to scheme. In my personal opinion, also, you see plays where the communication between the sideline and the players is just lost. So that's going to be a very interesting game.
Yeah, I feel like Carolina is still figuring out their identity, right? They have some real strong inconsistencies. They play and beat the team that they're supposed to beat, but clearly they have some hiccups. That Georgia Tech game was definitely one of the biggest head scratchers. It's kind of like last season when we played Florida State, and you go in on a Saturday night, but we all know that when Carolina plays on a Saturday evening, it always gets a little dicey. So I'm glad this game's a little bit earlier. And I personally am glad this game is a little bit earlier and they have time to figure it out. But you're certainly going to need Sam to have a great day. Can he be protected? He got sacked 5 times in that Duke game, right?
Ooh, okay.
And getting nice bear hugs from DBU is not going to be ideal for Howell, who is trying to use his legs more, who is rushing far more than we saw last season because he has to. But again, Josh Downs can't be the only one that finds separation. We're going to need something big from guys like Emery Simmons. Yes, it is. Emery Simmons. There it is. I'm having a stumbly my word day. That's fine. Emery Simmons. We're going to need some guys from Antoine Green. All of those guys are going to have to step up big. Joffrey Brown, if he plays, if he doesn't play, going to need something out of him. So, but more, I talk about the receivers, but we all know it comes down to that line. Terrible, like you had said. Brian Anderson, our boy Q, been switching out between being centers. Who will be our center going into Saturday? We're still yet to be determined, and they still might switch because we all know how Carolina can't seem to find and protect Sam, especially when he is under helm. So, say all that to say, I feel like it's going to be a good game, but I'm hoping the edge is Carolina, but I won't be surprised if they jack it up. Yeah.
I will be I'm actually a little bit happy. Well, not happy, because it kind of sucks he's not playing, but thank God that Bo Corrales is not playing in this game. I remember last year, I'm like, who the hell is number 11?
Yeah.
And he had what? I think 4 catches for 114 yards and 2 separate
He got held at that final play, but we don't have to talk about it.
Do you really want to talk about holding calls in that game right now?
We don't have to talk about it.
Well, we don't have to. I don't think you want to. I think it's a different story.
We can let it go. Okay. I still feel Javonte still dropped the pass. It is what it is.
Yeah, nice hands.
Hey, he can steamroll through a defense. Miami would like a word. Okay.
Well, Miami's got more problems than that. So
100%. But either way, and don't talk about Miami because apparently it gets real spicy. Okay, we talk about.
He's
Miami
lucky I'm not signing the team. So.
Okay, they're lucky to have a bye week. If you're being honest, another 3:30.
Lose that too. So.
Another 3:30 game we are here to talk about. Syracuse and Wake Forest. You know Syracuse full well. You just had them as an opponent as the Locked On Seminoles host, Tyler Aki, also who's a Locked On Syracuse host. Y'all had a nice conversation about those teams. Sean Tucker, who I had mentioned, looked very gassed during the game against Florida State. He is now trying to come in to this game with 638 yards on the year and 7 touchdowns to play a good Sam Hartman and Ja'Cory Roberson. Roberson, who's had 380 yards on the year, but Sam Hartman is doing his thing. 11 touchdowns, over 1,200 yards. I feel like they're just the untalked about team. They're 5-0, 3-0 in the ACC. It's time we respect Wake Forest. Despite the fact that their games haven't been, stellar opponents, it's hard to win these days in our conference.
I mean, it is really hard to win. I think I said last week, I think that they're the most complete team actually in the entire conference, whether it be Sam Hartman, who people say game manager. That's not necessarily a bad thing. He is perfect, I think, for actually that team. And then he supplemented with a Christian Beal-Smith and a Justice Ellison, where the offensive play calling with Dave Clawson, like I'm looking at that, I'm like, wow, why can't Mike Norvell scheme like this real quick?
Why can't you just watch how this works, right? Be a scientist.
He's like a mad scientist. I think that's it works because they're a bunch of nerds, but no, they're playing really damn good football. And then the defense too, that we thought was going to be really poor, they keep them in games. And I know Malik Cunningham still had 300 yards passing and maybe another 50 or 60 rushing. They still won that game out, and it was a close game. And great teams win games by this close, and it felt they should have won by a little bit more, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I think it really just came down to the way Louisville responded, especially in the first half. I felt as if, Wake Forest defense just really went to sleep. It's like, hey, guys, there's a game going on. Anytime you're ready to like make a good tackle, or you can have Jalen Mitchell run over you all day. Either one is fine. But no, they really adjusted. And again, we talk about great teams making in-game adjustments. That's what's critical. And they don't make a lot of mistakes, right? They only had like two. They didn't have any turnovers on the game, but they only had like two penalties really. And so I think that's something to really kind of look at for Syracuse, a team that's all over the place still trying to figure out who they are offensively. And I mean, to say for a positive, clearly Malik Cunningham was able to run all over them. Maybe Garrett Schrader could do the same. I know they're not the same player, but maybe that'll be one of their keys in order to win.
I don't think he's gonna be able to run over them like he did with us, primarily because I don't think anybody at Florida State, like Adam Fuller, definitely didn't understand, who Garrett Schrader was, because that one long run thing for a touchdown, Jermaine Johnson whiffed on that tackle, and he took a really good angle, and he just absolutely missed it. And that, to me, was probably one of the signs where we're like, wow, we should have beat this team by 10 points, maybe even 14. There was just a bunch of broken plays because Garrett Schrader is not a good quarterback. To me, he is Jordan Travis with the lack of an arm, because his passing left a lot to be desired, and he might be the slowest fast guy I think I've ever seen, just lumbering down like a big lumberjack down the middle of the field.
Sure.
Well, Garrett Schrader, I mean, there's more that we need to look to see what Sean Tucker does, because I think Sean Tucker definitely has a case to probably be the best running back in the ACC, if not for Mateo Durant, because that kid can run, and he averaged, I think 5 yards a carry against FSU, and we have a top 25 rush defense. That's the one thing we're good at, and he still, when he finally was able to break through, he capitalized on that, and that's just a lot for him.
Lord help us, Jesus. Sorry about that. Something was going on in my headphones and it was a party that I couldn't understand. But no, absolutely great points. I do think it's going to come to that run game. Hopefully Sean Tucker has second wind in him going in, because desperately Dino and company need that win, especially for his job's sake. Lord have mercy, help him. All right, let's talk more about some of these games going into this weekend. After I remind you guys about Built Bar, the best tasting protein bar ever with 9 delicious flavors. And let me tell you about the fact that mint brownie, double chocolate, and sometimes even strawberry are my absolute faves. If you want any of the 9, sometimes you just want to try. You want to see what you like. Some things, you have to taste test a bit. You can get a mixed box where you'll get 2 of each of the 9 flavors. Not only are Built Bar flavors the best tasting, but they're healthy too. Check out the macros: 17 to 18 grams of protein, calories ranging from 130 to 180, only 4 to 5 grams of sugar. Order your mint brownie, double chocolate, or even that strawberry, whatever you like today. Go to BuiltBar.com. Use promo code LOCK15 to get 15% off your next order. So we're talking to my man Drizzy Drake from Locked On Seminoles. We have a great opportunity to get with some good games going into the weekend. And man, oh man, would love to get your thoughts around some of your favorite teams. We know you love to cover, that good old Duke and Georgia Tech football. I know that's your favorite game of the weekend. You don't have to tell me, right?
Oh, yeah, I already got my hands too.
I figured as much, right? So let's talk about the fact that Duke opened its conference play with a loss against Carolina, figuring out who they are offensively. And then they have to go and play a Georgia Tech team who's probably pissed off at how bad they played against Pitt. Do you feel who is more emotionally invested, charged up in this game, and will deliver on Saturday?
I think it's got to be Duke, if we're being completely buck. I know that GT got beat up by Pitt. The problem is Pitt's beating up on everybody. Kenny Pickett is a man possessed right now. That man should be probably a dark horse in the Heisman race right now.
Yeah.
And then Mateo Durant, I mean, he just lost to North Carolina. I mean, that's y'all rival school, and he didn't play particularly poor. Like, he didn't, and then he only has 7 points to show for it. And to me, that's a Duke team that they need to come out with a win.
That's a coaching issue. That's not a Mateo. That's Mateo's giving us all he got. Let's give Gunner an opportunity to show his arm off. Like, what? Huh?
Oh, yeah, there was some questionable. I watched that game. There's some questionable play calling. It's kind of like we're as an FSU fan, it's like, oh, we're running the ball really well. Wait, why is Mackenzie Millen stepping back for a deep ball when his arm isn't super strong, and also our wide receiver cannot, get separation? But
hate it here.
Oh yeah, I hate it here. This is fine. My room is on fire. This is fine. My room is on fire. But no, I think to me it's Duke. I think because Mateo Durant definitely needs to show out. And I think Gunnar Holmberg is like, hey, listen, like, you're not the star of this team. You're not. Like, you're there to supplement Mateo Durant because that man is the best running back in the ACC and, quite frankly, the top 5 running back in the country. So, to me, it's got to be Duke.
I agree. I think that Georgia Tech is going to play a hard-fought game, but this is a great coastal matchup where if Duke wants to show that it's more than just these, wins against programs that aren't that great, it's going to have a strong showing, get at least one conference win to me to really feel like, okay, maybe Coach Cut can figure it out. Maybe we can have him stick around. If not, if they lose the rest of the slate, I mean, it's not getting any easier.
No.
And chumps the rest of the way. I have to figure it out for sure. Finally, let's talk about Virginia. They are playing Louisville, pissed off Louisville, who felt like they got wronged by the ACC refs throughout their game on Saturday. I always go to, at the end of the day, don't let it come down to the refs. I try and go with that to make myself feel better, but they play at 3:00 on ACC Network against the Cavaliers. And listen, Brendan Armstrong is on a tear, but I think it's going to be a fun matchup against Malik Cunningham. We talked on Thursday's show. Tyler was mentioning that it's going to be a shootout. I think it's I think it's 69 right now, maybe.
Nice.
Sorry. You know what? I always forget that I have co-host with guys. But anyway,
sorry about that.
It is going to be a shootout. If you told me Malik Cunningham is going to be a guy that can really throw, his arm is going to be the key weapon, I would be like, all right, maybe. But have you seen his legs? Brendan Armstrong also, it's one-sided over there. It's Brendan Armstrong and everybody else. It's very much him carrying that offense. Defense just tries. It reminds me of last year's Carolina team where Sam Howell was doing everything he could, but that defense just did not give him what he needed.
Oh, both these defenses are freaking awful. They are not good. This game, this game's going to remind me of a few years ago when they're back in college. This is going to remind me of the Texas Tech and Oklahoma game where it was Baker Mayfield versus Patrick Mahomes, where there's 65-62 type of game. That's what's going to happen in this game because Brendan Armstrong, that man can throw, that man can run, and that offense is just so fun to watch. And then Louisville, I got to give it to Satterfield because he's finally, I think, been able to understand.
Ooh, okay, Satterfield compliment.
I know.
Go.
I know. Listen, I'm not a big fan of him, but I will say that he has definitely tailored his offense to Malik Cunningham's strength. And Malik Cunningham, I think, has finally been able to take that future step forward where he's actually a really solid damn quarterback.
Yeah.
And actually, he's a fun person to watch. And to me, this is probably going to be the game. If it wasn't for us at 3:30, I would watch this game, just sit down, pop myself in front of my, my computer because, we don't have ACC Network down here in South Florida or Florida in general. Shout out Comcast. Yeah, we don't. Tallahassee doesn't have it either. Get to an ACC Network. But it's going to be a fun game to watch. It's one, there's no defense. It's like every other Big 12 game. But we have a very fun offense to watch, and I'm stoked to watch it.
It reminds me of that Soulja Boy song, Shootout. I don't know if you heard that. Let Me Get 'Em. Okay. Have you heard of that song?
No, I haven't heard that song.
Okay. How old is I'm telling my age here, but for all of our listeners, everyone who is of the Soulja Boy era, first of all, Soulja Boy has done everything for us. So I don't know if you guys knew that.
Oh, he's a pioneer. He's a legend in the game. I'm sorry. He is.
But Let Me Get 'Em is definitely one that you gotta, put in the tank. It's a pregame show. Make sure on the next break you listen to it. So next Friday, we might intro the show with Let Me Get 'Em. I know we might get sued, but I'll talk with Ross about that. But no, it is going to be a great game that I think overall, I'm pretty sure Virginia's going to come out on top, but we'll have to see. Now, there is one final game we got to go over that I would love your thoughts because, at the end of the day, we don't really call them part of the ACC, but they low-key are. So I want to talk about that here in a second. After I remind you guys that if you are ready to bet this season, I'm trying to tell you, Drizzy Drake is going to have us covered. He's got us locked and loaded. He is going to give us some of the games that we just discussed. Then our final one that we'll mention here in just a bit. But make sure you sign up for BetOnline, the fastest and easiest way to bet on all of your favorite sports, from football, basketball, boxing, right to your favorite Vegas casino games. Don't wait to take advantage of all the amazing offers available for the 2021 season. As always, BetOnline is your number one spot for all pro and college football. With the new updated odds, site, and interface, props, and contests, BetOnline continues to be that number one source. Head to the website, use your mobile device today to sign up to receive 50% welcome bonus on your first deposit. Don't forget to use promo code LOCKEDON to receive your bonus. BetOnline is where the game starts. So we're wrapping up today's show, Freestyle Friday with Drizzy Drake, and we have got to talk about this Virginia Tech Notre Dame game. We'll love to know your thoughts. As someone who almost beat Florida State, as Locked on Seminoles host, Florida State grad himself, we'll love to know if you think Virginia Tech can actually get over the hurdle and beat the Fighting Irish and what that possibly would mean for them as they're trying to stay or get to a top of the Coastal.
Yeah. I know everyone has been on the Justin Fuente apology train. I'm not hopping on that yet.
Okay.
Personally, I'm not. They're not a good team. I think they haven't. I mean, who they played really that's that great, and this includes this Notre Dame team. I mean, Notre Dame had 9 months to prepare to play us, and they beat us in overtime by 3 points. And we've seen each week they've gotten worse and worse and worse. And Jack Cohn, who's their transferred out for a reason. He transferred out because of Graham Mertz. And you can see, look at Wisconsin right now, that offense. I think he has 1 touchdown over the past 2 years. Someone saying stuff like that. Like, I'm not going to give credit to Justin Fuente for winning this game. And I don't think they're going to win this game either, primarily because Notre Dame is going to be that team for some reason. They're going to find a way to win. That's what they've done all year. And also, this is just about the time where Justin Fuente's teams, their wheels kind of fall off a little bit. So for me, that's kind of what I see happening this weekend.
I think if Braxton Burmeister tries to beat anybody but himself, this is going to be the game where they have their undoing, right? Because if you try to throw the long ball, if you try and throw deep, I think Kyle Hamilton is going to have his way with you. If you try to run, I think you're going to get swallowed up in the backfield. Like, you're going to have this is probably going to be one of your best game management games, right? I think it's going to come down to a field goal where I do think that the Fighting Irish are going to squeak out. But as an ACC lover myself, I feel like I have to root for the Hokies, just because. NC State, Notre Dame is like ACC adjacent. And so I just feel like for the squad, for the tribe, you have to pull out the dub.
I'm about to say, yeah. I mean, I'm going to be behind VT mainly because I don't need to say ACC adjacent. They just come in, like that. Like, are you up? Text at 2 a.m. in the morning. That's Notre Dame. That's all they are.
Life is going crazy right now. Hey, we would need a spot to crash. We'll just find our home with your conference. But things are going better for me. Sports are back. Bye. Like independence. Okay.
It's like the future meme where he's like, I'm out here, Boston Market reminds me of all Thanksgivings with your mom. And by the way, how is she? Miss
right.
you. Talk soon.
Exactly. But if they keep losing, they might mess around and figure it out and find their way into ACC territory. Who knows?
I mean, yeah, they fit right in, right?
Come on in. We'll have you. We know what it's like to lose consistently and consistent energy. Like, we are just. Are you well? You need to drink. Miami wants to have a conversation. The Florida State, there's been. I'm sorry to hate to say this, but Florida State the brand is just not doing what it needs to do. And Florida State, Notre Dame's brand is trying not to do what it's used to doing as well. So let's fit right in.
Yeah, that hurts to say, but I can't argue with you right now on that because we're down pretty bad. But trust me, the come up is going to be real. It's going to be real, folks.
Okay.
Real. All right. Give me 2 years for that, though. Okay.
All right. So let's get into some betting thoughts. Reminding everybody of these matchups. First up, we have 12:30 action: Georgia Tech and Duke. Georgia Tech is -4 currently. Who do you have?
I'm taking Duke.
What are you taking? Taking Duke?
I'm taking Duke, actually. It's +3.5 right now. I'll take them for that. And I'll take the money line, too. I think actually they can win this game. I think that GT, I thought they're going to have a letdown spot at UNC. That didn't happen. I bet against them again against Pitt, and Pitt annihilated them. To me, it might be the wheels might start to be coming off a little bit over there. So give me Duke +3.5 and +163.
I think Duke, with the energy of the students being back, the students were not there for the Kansas game, and they still were able to squeak out a win. So I think with the energy of the fans, Duke will pull this out. I'll go with Duke for you. Okay. All right, Virginia and Louisville, 3 p.m. on ACC Network.
3 p.m. I mean, I'm picking Virginia.
Okay.
I think Virginia's the better team, and I mean, they're the underdog right now in that game, right?
Very much so. Have you seen that defense on Virginia side?
Here's the thing, though. You still that Louisville team still let Florida State score, I think, 30 points. Sorry, 23 points. And that was with a Mackenzie Milne who fell 3 times. I don't know if you watched the game. He literally got sniped from a turf monster. He fell 3 separate times. And that Louisville defense it's pretty damn bad. And I think a shootout is the best way to put it. And right now it's 69.5. And I would take the over in that game and also give him Virginia +2.5.
Okay, well, Wake Forest and Syracuse play at 3:30. Wake Forest is currently the top dog, but I would love to know your thoughts if you think Syracuse can come out with the win.
Yeah, no.
You
I
know.
I don't think I like Dino a lot, but I think it's a lot where that was such a winnable game for them, and there was some moments where I'm like, "Damn, we're really about to lose to Syracuse for the first time ever in Doak." And
Mm,
then they didn't, and that kinda takes a lot out of you that you were this close with, like, probably one of your not one of your better teams, but one of your more sound teams, and you aren't able to pull that away, and it's gonna linger, and Wake Forest is a team that is top 10 in offensive efficiency and defensive efficiency, so give me Wake, 'cause Sam Hartman, I think, has got those boys humming. They might be undefeated going into, NC State.
yeah. Phew, that would be wild.
That'd be
All right.
crazy.
Yeah, Florida State and North Carolina also play at 3:30 with UNC having the current advantage.
Yeah, there's a lot of trends in life that, I follow personally. There's certain things also in life that are never destined to happen. There's a running joke on our show that me and Rihanna is something that's never gonna happen ever in our lives.
You
Just 'cause,
never know. You never Riri could find you in the freaking 7-Eleven and be like, you could just be like, Riri, I need a kiss. She seems like the type that just would do it off the string.
you and Max are so good for my psyche, but that's never gonna happen. Just for God doesn't happen. That's how I feel about this game, primarily because Mac Brown is 0-9 against FSU as a head coach, both at
Yeah.
Tulane and at UNC. And our team this year, I know it sounds weird to say, folks, our team this year is better than the team last year. Our team last year was much, much worse, especially along the defensive front. And also, we kind of know what we have with the quarterback. And
Mhm.
also, your offensive line is not particularly great. So I'm not a homer a lot on the show. I picked against this thing most of the year this year, except for last week. Give me FSU plus 17 and
Okay.
give me FSU to win this game, too.
Normally I would be a homer as well, but no, I'm still gonna be a homer. I think that Carolina's gonna pull this off only because, like you mentioned, this is one of those crazy years and they haven't won yet. And Mac is not Dino, right? I think he's gonna be able to get it done. And like you have those, weird stats that you throw out there, but this is gonna be the one time that they beat them. They've done the whole honoring Bobby thing with the art and the graphic on the wall. Cute, everyone's feeling like love right now. At the end of the day, you play with excellence. Let's get down to business. Right, you need to get that one win. Like let's go ahead and get that thing going. Unless Bobby is like hovering around Keenan Stadium on Saturday and just makes some things happen for Jordan Travis, I don't see it.
God, I remember last year that we said the same. It was the opposite last year, actually, when we had you on our show. Like when we first
Yeah,
met you, I was like, "Yeah, we're probably gonna get blown out because Sam Howell is that dude," and now it's completely flip flops. It's gonna be a fun game to watch because
yeah.
it's gonna be a lot of damn points, and it's gonna be
I feel like it's gonna be a Sam Howell revenge game. I think Sam really needs to show that like the playing Florida State does not affect him the way it looked like it did in Tallahassee last time out.
I don't know because remember his first TD pass in Doak was to Joshua Kando as a pick six.
And then
I'm done.
you know what? Bill Krause got held. Okay. Anyway, Notre Dame, Virginia Tech. Notre Dame, Virginia. I'm not even talking to you anymore about this. 7:30 on ACC Network. It's even split.
Oh yeah, and that's a pick.
Surprisingly enough.
Yeah, I just think because now people are starting to realize how Notre Dame isn't a good team. But
What gave it away? Was it the ACC championship last year? Was it the bowl consideration or not bowl? Was it college football playoffs and then getting dogged out? What was it? Okay.
Ian Book leaving. Ian Book
Mm,
was the most underrated quarterback in college football last year. That man was basically Alex Smith with a better arm. That man
okay.
was the perfect game manager for that offense, and he was able to be enough of a threat for both Kyron Williams and Chris Tyree to excel in that offense.
Okay.
And now you bring in Jack Cohn, a Wisconsin transfer. Folks, I had Alex Hornibrook as my quarterback a few years ago as a Wisconsin transfer. I know how
Okay.
bad those kids are. Sorry, kids. You guys are great kids. But give me Notre Dame to win this game, and then give me the under 47 because it's going to be an ugly, ugly game to watch.
Ooh, an ugly game to watch. Our favorite at 7:30 at night. We love the worst night games. But anyway, it's fine. So many good bye weeks. I think also teams with the bye weeks have an opportunity to rest, recharge, get ready for a great week. Week 6 seems to be nice and light for us, but I'm sure week 7 will be even wilder. We'll be back to give you all that good news. Friday is going to be fun. As always, Jersey Drake in the building. Thank you for coming on, Key. Please remind folks of where they can find you, follow your work.
You can follow me at Tally__Drake as you see down below. You can also now follow us on YouTube. We just started this weekend. Trust me, we're having a blast. You can now see our beautiful faces. You can see what I mean by I'm saying a little bit thick around the edges with the built bars. It helps me out. So with that, You can follow my co-host at MaxMoody17. You can follow my other co-host Dave at FSU Knowles. The O is a 0 and the S is a 5. It's really confusing. He's older, folks, so don't judge him for his lack of technology expertise. And follow us at Knowles Anonymous. That's our kind of our collective. We have a Discord too to engage with our fan base, and that's where we get all our questions, where we get topics for the weekend. Good luck this weekend, folks.
I mean, are you trying to say that the Bill bars are kind of like those bars from Mean Girls where like you were eating, it's like the Caltine bars where you were eating?
No. They suppress my cravings because you trust me, your boy will be in the kitchen. I'm Latino, man. I'm like, I got some rice and beans in the fridge real quick. Ooh,
okay.
Let me cook some chicken up real quick because I will do that at like 9:30 at night. 10 o'clock at night.
Period. Listen, do what you got to do. We're all out here just trying to survive a pandemic. Like no judgment, total judgment-free zone. Well, we hope you guys have a great weekend. Stay smart and safe out there. We'll be back Monday with all of the recaps and all of the good stuff. You know how we roll each and every week. Until next time.